Well, YouTube, as you can see, I'm not the most clean barn guy. I'm going to show you how to set this laser up. I've got a 40-watt laser tree, and it's very simple. It comes with this cable right here. Yellow would be your PWM to your breakout board, and of course, red and black is your 12-volt supply. I got it tied in to that cable that runs down my thing, comes over here to my controller board. There's a 5-axis. At least I can see what I was looking at with this camera. But there's that 5-axis breakout board. And you can see over here, the top pin over here is ground. The second pin is PWM, which is pulse modulation width, or pulse width modulation, I guess. And then my 12-volt supply. Mine happens to be pin 1. And if you read the board, it'll tell you what pins it's printed on there. If you got a decent board, it'll tell you what pin numbers are what. Like X, Y, and Z axis, starts out, X would be pin 2, pin 3, Y would be 4, 5, Z is 6, 7, rotary, 8, 9, etc., etc. You always got to make sure you got your USB plugged into this at all times. It's got to have that 5-volt supply from the USB. I know it looks like a big bird's nest right now, but basically what it is I got a 12-volt external supply here because the one I had built in burned up. The power goes in here, 12 volts. That goes through my relay from my spindle. And all I did was just set it up like a switch. The bottom terminal is common. The top terminal here is normally open. So when I energize this relay through Mach3, it pulls it in and just supplies power to it. I had to share I used to have a separate ground. I never used this ground until I got the laser and my PWM wasn't working. So then I just clipped this in temporarily to my ground. So I'm grounded at the 12-volt supply with the 5-volt and everything's shared. I'll show you what I did here in Mach3. It's pretty simple. I hope you can see the screen all right. I'm learning. All right, I guess that looks pretty decent. All right, you go up here to ports and pins. Go to motor output. You set your spindle up. Set it on pin 1, directional pin 1. And then I had to set mine to a low output. Otherwise, it would come on as soon as I clicked it, reset. And then when I turned the spindle on, it would actually go off. So it was backwards. So, you got to set your, either high or low. And my breakout boards are Chinese, cheap, 5-axis breakout board with the laser on it, relay or the PWM built in. You can do it either way. That's what I got here on my ports and pins. Click OK. We go back to reset, go back to ports and pins. Output signal. I make sure I enabled port 1, pin 1, and it's active low. Well, actually, that's probably why I got to check it in under the spindle because of right here. But anyways, that's what you got. So now if you go over here to spindle setup, you want to make sure you got this checkbox here, use spindle motor output. Make sure you got that checked. And then PWM control, make sure you got that checked. Set both of these to output 1. And that's on I've done set up multiple computers and breakout boards, and they always come up to pin 1. You hit apply, you go OK. Now here's the tricky part. You go down here to spindle pulleys. This will actually set your voltage on your output. My particular PWM on this laser board right here from Laser Tree only accepts the input on the PWM at 5 volts. So if I didn't have the meter out and looked at it, I would have known I was going to be in big trouble, because when I set this to I found some website that said set it to 1200 or 12,000. Yeah, actually it was it was 12,000. Set it to 12,000 ratio 1, and that would give you roughly 5 volts. Well, that turned out to be baloney. So I set it to 125, and I hit OK. I think I still got the meter hooked up. So let's just check this. There's my meter. Yeah. All right, all I'm going to do is click the spindle relay. I'm going to unplug the laser first. Bear with me, I'm going to unplug this laser. All right, I unplug the laser. I'll come back here to my voltmeter. And all I'm going to do is click the relay on the spindle. The voltage jumps, I'm going to grab this slider right here. I'm going to bump it up. And as I slide this slider, and all I'm doing is sliding this slider right here. Down here on the spindle speed, it's changing the voltage. And I got it maxed out at 250, and it's only going to 3.94 volts. I don't want to burn this up. I don't want to run 100% power on this, because that shortens the life of your laser. So I'm going to put this down, turn the spindle off, and that drops down to a voltage low enough to where it ain't going to trigger the PWM. I'm going to plug the laser back in. Plug the laser in. Make sure red wire goes to the right. Plug that in. All right, I'm going to set this up here. And I'm going to get kind of close to it just because the focus point is real close to the end of it. All right. I'm just gonna click it on. And then you take out a little dot. See the little dot? I guess you can see the little dot. But if I slide that slider up on Mach 3 on the spindle speed, what's that dot? Does it get brighter? Now I'm already catching on fire. Look at that. And I'm only right there on the slider. So I'll back that down. And I'm just going to turn it off. Because I got to mount it and everything. But yeah, that's it. I mean, I know the video kind of sucked, but I'm going to do a better one with a phone or something that I can see. And we'll go from there. Thanks for watching.